What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Next Gen Talk TV. I'm your host, Chance Duckworth, and I'm here with
Leona Tate.
All right, so for most of you guys who may not know, this is actually my auntie. I call her Aunt Leona, but for this interview, I'll be calling you Miss Tate.
Okay.
To keep the professionalism. So before we start the interview, can you just introduce yourself and just talk about why we're here today?
Well, we're here today because it's Black History Month, about to end Black History Month anyway, but I am Leona Tate, one of the 4 little 6-year-old black girls that desegregated public schools here in New Orleans, Louisiana.
All right, and Ms. Tate, as far as, integrating schools, we're in the building of the museum, which, keeps that story alive, make sure these stories are still being told and not forgotten about. With the state our country is in, you don't know what can happen.
Right.
So this is, before we started the interview, you were telling me about this actual desk, one of the things that you can remember from back in the 60s when you did integrate as a 6-year-old. So can you tell me, the importance of this desk and chair?
Well, it's not one of the originals, but, just acquiring this building, I had to remember a lot. And this was the type of desk that I remember that we had with the little cup holder here for your pencils or your colors. But this is what I remember. We found this one later on, but I had to get it because this is what I really remember that we had. But this desk is very important, but our exhibit will not hold this desk. The exhibit will have only 3 desks that'll be activated with our voices. Right. So that's what we're going to have in the future.
And, when you think back to integrating schools, can you tell me, what do you hold most emotionally while, when you think back to it, what do you hold most emotionally towards that?
Emotionally, I hold back a lot of the anger people had and showed toward us. Even though I didn't pick up on that for a long time, but now when I think about it, I really want to know why we were treated that way, why you act that way, Right. So far, I've never encountered anybody from those days. I'm looking forward to doing that, but so far we haven't.
All right, and then, obviously you're my auntie. I've been knowing you my entire life, and I've always wanted to ask these questions, but now that I finally have the platform to ask these questions, now is the perfect time for me to get those answers and to see, obviously what you went through, and obviously what you went through at the age of 6. Did you, at that such ripe age of 6, did you understand how historic that moment was, or were you just, going with the flow?
Going with the flow, like you young folks say. I had no clue, and I think I didn't really understand because my family didn't want me to be afraid, so they didn't really talk around me to let me know. I knew I was coming to a new school, and I was happy to come to a new school because I hated my old school.
Right.
But it took me a long time to understand why. I didn't pick up on the anger, the crowd outside. I thought a parade was coming. That's the only thing I could relate it to.
And all those people out there saying mean slurs to you, everything that was going on, the things that we hear back then from what happened, I'm sure that's what actually happened. And I'm sure that you were afraid. Can you just kind of explain to me how you stayed strong through those times and going through that almost every day going to school?
I don't know if afraid might be the right word. I just, like you say, going through the flow, but we had a lot of support. We had a lot of family members. We had a lot of community members. We had what we called a village back in those days, So I guess, going through this and then coming home in the evening and everybody there to support you kind of like took the fear out of what I was going through. Other people may say something different, but I didn't pick up on the fear a long time because I didn't understand what they were saying out there.
Right, and you did mention a village that you said you had. Is there anything as specific as to like what they were doing to make sure you were safe, make sure you were, feeling strong and things of that nature?
We were so guarded. We had the federal marshals brought us to school every day. They would pick us up in the morning and they would bring us home in the evening. Now it took us quite a few years. It took 50 years for us to find out that they were in the building the entire day because that was their 8-hour job. But we didn't see them during the day. But once they brought us home, then the New Orleans Police Department was guarding our home. So, and then everywhere I went, there was always a police car behind us and doing wherever I traveled for a long time.
And, I was talking about, keeping this story alive. And when we look back at, the young people today, some of them, you don't really think that they still even hear about this story or think about the days of segregation and integrating schools. So do you think that young people today, care about that time or use it to their advantage? And, because once upon a time, there were times when Black children couldn't go to school. And, you being one of those pioneering figures to be able to first make that happen. And I'm sure you've seen some of the things going on today. Do you like what is your perspective on that?
My perspective is I visit a lot of schools and they don't know, and especially here in New Orleans, they don't know that history. I can go out of state and they know all about me. But right here in New Orleans, and that's very hurtful to me, and that's why I request that the schools come here to the center and they could come through the building. They don't know where they're coming until they come in the building. And they enter the building the way we did, they tour the building the way, and then they see a film that's in black and white. But children think that kind of thing happened back in slavery. They don't think it's more recent than slavery, and I get those kind of questions when the children visit here, But once they see the black and white film and they do all that stuff, and I come in the room, then it's real to them. And then I'm answering a lot of more questions.
All right. And, you did say it was kind of hurtful for you, in your hometown where you did this, and the children now in your hometown that you grew up in did all these things, and obviously it's very hurtful. So is there anything that you might wish that the children today will understand that time in history?
Yeah, I wish the schools would teach it. They're not teaching it. So we do curriculums here with the teachers, and hopefully even we don't ask them to change the curriculum that they have. We ask them just to include it in the curriculum, because this history is in every subject that you could possibly teach. So for the children to learn, they got to be taught it. I suggest to the children, talk to your elders. Talk to your grandmother and your grandfather about those days, and that's the only way they're going to feel like it's real. They got to hear it.
Right. And, with my brand, Next Gen Talk TV, it's all about, the next generation. But now we're hearing from someone who set the path for that and to allow these things to happen. So what responsibility do you think with this generation when it comes to, protecting the progress?
Just to stay focused. Leave the negative stuff alone. Every opportunity offered to you, take it. Don't pass up nothing. You're offered everything. You can take everything now. Everything is there for you. The doors have been opened a long time ago. A long time ago. If anybody tell you no, I tell the children, come get me. We're going to take care of that. All right? Nobody can tell you no, you can't be what you want to be. I'm proud of what you're doing. I'm very proud of what you're doing.
And then you did mention, being proud of me. And, I'm sure you've met some other young leaders today. Is there any other that you may can think of, that gives you hope about this time that we're going through right now?
We get a lot of youth that come and help us during the summertime. And you can tell the background that they come from. Each style is different. But once they get here and they get motivated into what we do here, they're gonna be fine.
Right.
They're gonna be fine.
Outside of this very building, there is a mural of you three who integrated this school. So if you want, we can go take a quick look outside at the mural and then reflect on that moment.
Sure.
Is that fine?
Sure.
All right. And Ms. Tate, when people see this mural outside, what do you hope they take from this?
I'm hoping this mural will make them want to question about this building, because a lot of people that live right here in this community have no clue of what happened at this school, at this building, and I'm hoping that makes them curious about what happened. It's a beautiful mural done by B. Mike, Brandon Odoms, and him and his students, and as you see, that's the eternal seeds of the students, and believe it or not, it was done in 4 days.
Wow! So this whole thing was done in 4 days.
It was done in 4 days because.
Wow, that was a great experience being able to see that mural, hear from you from your own words. But as we look outside of there, it wasn't just you. This center is named after you all's last names. Can you, name them and give a quick description, or put your own 2 cents into it?
It was myself, Leona Tate, Tessie Prevost, and Gail Etienne. And we always was very sentimental about this building. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to do here and have things done here, I told her, I said, if I get my hands on that building, I'm going to name it after the three of us. But we thought it was a joke back in the beginning, you know. And when I did, I named it the Tate, Etienne, and Prevost Interpretive Center.
Right. And mentioning Miss Prevost recently, we did lose her a few years ago, but now recently, more recently, her mother was unfortunately lost. You know, how does that personally feel to you? Because I know she played a big part in, you know, what you all did, and, you know, losing her, I'm sure it's not easy. What kind of toll does that take on you?
It's not easy right now. I always had a communication involvement with Miss Dorothy, and we would talk, we would joke with each other, we would do a lot of things together, and I'm so glad I got to honor her at our last gala in November, and it makes me feel like I did my duty. But she was a woman of strong will. She was God-fearing. You know, she was one that if we didn't remember something, we could go back and ask what happened during this time, and she'd let us know that, no, you couldn't do such and such a thing. But it's going to be something. It's really
Right.
gonna be
And
something.
I can't help but to recognize your outfit for today. It is an amazing dress for Black History Month. Can you tell me, you know, what was the inspiration behind it? I didn't expect you to get all dressed up today.
This is just, I just put it on. You know, I've been doing a lot of Black History stuff, and I try to dress for the occasion. So I had a luncheon to attend today, and they said, wear something red. And this was the only thing that I had red in it, so I wore this one. But I said, this will be good for Chance. I wanted to look good for Chance today.
Yes, this is nice. And, you know, finally to close out, if you could speak directly to young people today in this generation, what words do you have for them?
Just be respectful. I use two words all the time. I sign my books the same way. This is one of our books. Stay focused, you know, and I don't just mean on work. Stay focused on Jesus.
Right.
You know, that's my way of accomplishing what I did here. You know, because I knew if it wasn't for God, I don't know where I'd be. I really don't. You know, but just stay focused and choose the right path.
All right, and you did mention this book, Small Shoes, Great Strides, with the three. Can you, I never read the book. Can you tell me, you know, what this book talks about, where people can maybe buy this book?
They can buy it here at the TEP Center, but then you can order it online also. But this book, I tell everybody that if they read this book, I won't have to tell this story anymore. It's so well written, it's thorough, it tells you step by step. It even shows the examples of how things was, you know, chosen for us to do, the tests we had to go through, and really the time frame that it happened. You know, it was two different schools at that time, and there was a big difference in the time frame.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Miss Tate, also known as Auntie Lonnie. Thank you so much for this interview. It's been a long time coming, but I think this is the perfect time for it. God makes way for everything. Black History Month. Just thank you so much for this interview.
You are so welcome. It's been long overdue. You're right.
Thank you so much.
I was scared to do it because I said, oh, Lord.
Yep. Well, I hope you all did get a good understanding of, you know, integrating schools, especially with the younger generation that may be watching. Make sure you stay focused, like you said, and not only stay focused in education.
Come visit us. Come visit the TEP Center.
Come visit the TEP Center. We're going to take a look around the exhibit, see what it all has to offer, look back on, you know, these memories and, you know, what all she went through, not only her, but the other two ladies as well. Not much I have to say. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this conversation with others, because this story still needs to be shared, whether it's been years ago or right now or in the future. Make sure you comment, leave your thoughts. My name is Chance Duckworth.
I'm Leona Tate.
And thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace.